I'm Andy.
I'm John.
And we're nursing students from Concordia, and we're going to talk to you today about COVID-19. So we're going to start this presentation off with a video and just to summarize basic concepts about COVID. The beginning was really good, guys.
Hold on.
No, it wasn't. I was about to laugh. I was this close away from this close now.
All right.
All right.
Take 2.
Hello, my name is Hannah,
I'm Andy.
I'm John.
and we are
Hold on. Take 3. Hi, I'm Andy,
I'm Hannah.
I'm John.
and we're nursing students from Concordia, and we're going to teach you about COVID-19.
Here's a video we're going to show you. It has a basic summary of concepts about COVID.
Nothing like an early morning jog to Phew. What? Oh, stop it. Dear Tim and Moby, I've been hearing lots of scary stuff in the news about the coronavirus. Can you tell me more about it, please? Thanks, Khalil. Sure thing, Khalil. Viruses are tiny particles that can invade living cells. There are millions of varieties with different behaviors, shapes, and structures. Coronaviruses are one group named for their crown-shaped outline. 4 of these commonly infect humans. A lot of times when you get a cold, it's caused by a coronavirus. Any virus has one goal: to replicate or make more copies of itself. But it can't do that on its own, so it invades an organism and turns its cells into virus factories. This can be unpleasant for the host, the organism that the virus has infected. The new coronavirus typically causes coughing and fever. A healthy body can usually fight off this illness, known as COVID-19, on its own. Symptoms are mild for most people, especially kids. But in a body with weakened defenses, COVID-19 can become more severe and require medical treatment. Some people get seriously ill, and that's gotten everyone's attention. This new coronavirus was first identified in Wuhan, China. In late 2019, there was an outbreak. That's when a disease starts spreading. More and more people got sick, first in China and then around the world. Entire cities have been quarantined or closed off to slow the disease's spread. Fortunately, viruses can't get around without our help. And there's a lot we can do to not help them. Like washing your hands, especially after you use the bathroom and before you eat. That's always a good idea, and you probably already do it. Scrub with soap for at least 20 seconds to make sure you don't miss any spots. Whenever you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth to help keep any germs contained. And if you're sick, avoid other people. You wouldn't want to infect them, even if it's a plain old cold. Well, when there's an outbreak where you live, experts recommend some added precautions, like social distancing, limiting close contact with other people, even if you're not sick. Hang out at home with your family and keep up with your friends online. That gives the virus fewer opportunities to spread around. Lots of outbreaks have been stopped when enough folks just follow these simple rules. Yeah, it's true. Some people have died after being infected by the 2019 coronavirus. That's because the virus can infect a person's lungs and make it hard to breathe. Those are the stories we hear about most online and in the news. But the vast majority of cases have been mild. If you feel overwhelmed by the news, consider limiting how much you let in. Instead of cable news and social media, stick to sources like the World Health Organization. They'll give you the big picture, not just the scary snapshots that make the headlines. And they're organizing experts all over the world to get this coronavirus under control. Still, it's totally normal if the situation's made you a little anxious. Talk to a trusted adult. They can help you put your feelings in perspective. One last thing, coronavirus doesn't care where you're from or what your background is. So don't let anyone turn this into an excuse to target someone based on how they look. Working together is how we'll beat this thing, so let's stand up for our neighbors. Okay, I'm a sweaty mess. I gotta rinse off. Oh, don't be so dramatic. Where are you going? I really think you're overreacting.
So in that video, we learned that the coronavirus is obviously a virus. There are other viruses that we also commonly get, such as the flu. So that's one way that they are in common. Some symptoms you can have with the coronavirus. You can see a runny nose, fever, cough, vomiting, and diarrhea. And when you're sick, when you normally get sick, you normally tell an adult, your parents, when you're at home, or when you're at school, you can either tell the school nurse or your teacher. And it's important we tell a trusted adult that when we're sick, because they can help us get better and they can prevent it from spreading to other people and causing more harm.
So you guys have all been wearing masks in class, and you guys have all been doing a really good job of that. Just make sure that when you wear it, you are wearing it over your nose and your mouth. Otherwise, it's not as effective. You'll see a picture over on the side of the PowerPoint. That's Zoe, our comfort dog from our college campus. And she just reminds you how to wear your mask correctly. So if you ever forget, you can remember her, and she shows you that she has it over her mouth and her nose. We wear the mask to protect ourselves, but also to protect others, like our older population, so your grandparents, or other people who are just sick. We also want to be social distancing, so about 6 feet. It's a little hard to tell right now, but if Hannah wasn't here, me and John are kind of far apart. So you just want to stay further apart from people than you normally would. And try and do that, especially if you can't wear your mask for some reason, or you aren't feeling well. We have a video about germs, so we're going to show you the first couple of minutes of it.
I've always thought if we could somehow just see the germs around us, everyone would be a lot more careful and we'd get sick way less. Unfortunately, that's still not possible, so I did the next best thing by running a day-long experiment in this 3rd grade classroom. I found this powder called Glow Germ, and just like real germs, when it's on your hands, you can't see it. But unlike real germs, if you turn a black light on, it becomes visible. But it transfers to things you've touched, so it provides a really good way to visualize exactly how germs spread. So before the kids arrived, as a control, I went around and noted any pre-existing spots in the room that fluoresced under the black light, and then it was go time. The kids, of course, had no idea what we were doing and that the teacher had been secretly infected with the glowing powder. So she randomly shook the hands of 3 kids, but didn't touch any of the rest. And so with that, they just went about their normal day. Break, I did choose one random student, and he agreed to letting me put some of the powder on his hands too. And then 2 hours later at lunchtime, I checked the results. Remember, everything you see here started with just the teacher and 1 student having a little of that powder on their hands. And because my flashlight can only illuminate 1 spot at a time, I used Photoshop to better visualize our observations of where germs were left behind, including on the other kids.
Uh-oh, we're pretty hot over here. Oh, right here.
And they were actually pretty diligent about washing their hands. This was the desk of the kid that was infected. And what's crazy is that germs could live on a hard surface like this for up to 9 days. And so you can see how important it is to disinfect the things a sick person regularly touches. For example, this was the phone of the teacher in the experiment. Even if you wash your hands really often, if you immediately pull out your phone, a lot of those germs just go right back on your hands. Think about when the last time was that you cleaned your phone. My friend Joanne at the Wall Street Journal recently demonstrated you can clean your phone with an antibacterial wipe every day for at least a year, and it doesn't affect the oleophobic coating at all. And this hopefully gives you a better mental model of why it's really important to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer after being at places like this, or this, or this, or this. Cleaning commonly touched surfaces is important because even if a virus is spread through airborne transmission, those tiny droplets don't stay in the air for long. Then they land on surfaces waiting to be touched by our hands. Which raises an important point. The ultimate defense against catching a virus is just don't touch your face. Your eyes, nose, and mouth are like the single weak spot on the Death Star when it comes to viruses. That's the only way they can get in to infect you. But as you can see here, not touching your face is easier said than done.
All right, so that
I've always thought if we could somehow just see.
So that video kind of highlighted just how easy germs can spread through contact with different surfaces. So that's why it's important to wipe down commonly touched surfaces like your desk, like remotes, even like cell phones, stuff like that. But another way to kind of prevent the spread of germs is to wash your hands. So I'm sure you guys have all been washing your hands your whole life, and that is awesome. But we're just going to go over the proper technique just to ensure that the most germs are being killed. So to start, you want to turn on the sink. So you want to wet your hands, but when you wet your hands, you want to do it with warm water. This warm water will kill more of the germs on your hand. After you turn the water on, you're going to apply some soap. So the soap is the most important part of washing your hands because it's what actually kills the germs. Washing your hands with just water is not super effective. The soap, there's a lot to do when applying the soap. You want to make sure you're doing it for 15 to 20 seconds. This ensures that the soap can get all over your hands. So when you wash your hands, you want to make sure you're getting in all parts of your fingers, so like in between your fingers, your thumbs, rolling the dough, like getting under your nails, because a lot of bacteria can be under your nails. You just want to make sure that you're getting it like just all over. You want to even do your wrist, just because a lot of germs can be up here as well. So a good way to remember like how long to wash your hands for with the soap would be to sing a song. So you could sing ABCs, happy birthday, whatever you like, just to remind you to wash for a long time. So after you have all the soap on your hands, it's all over, then you can rinse off the water that is already turned on. So the warm water, you just want to make sure that you're getting it all over your hand to get all the soap off. And then afterwards you can dry your hand and you are all done. So when you wash your hands, you should do it often throughout the day, before you eat, even sometimes after when you eat, after you go to the bathroom, when you get back inside from the playground, or even when you play with toys that are commonly used, just because a lot of other people were touching those as well. And as you saw in the last video, germs can stay on surfaces, and that's kind of just how they spread. And it's always just important to use soap whenever you wash your hands, because even though skipping soap is quicker, it won't kill the germs on your hands. And just make sure when you're using the soap, it's for 15 to 20 seconds. So we have a video next. It's a hand washing activity, which will explain more about washing your hands with different techniques, but it'll also show you with paint how effective and important it is to get soap in all surfaces.
This is a video on proper hand washing. The paint is going to be our soap. We're going to do several different movements to make sure we get complete coverage of the hands. That movement is, we call it the spider. We get the back side of the hands, then we move to a hug, and then we make sure we get our thumbs, and then we roll the dough with the tips of our fingers, the fingernails, and then we make sure we get our wrists, our bracelets as well. And then after that, just do another quick overview of your hands, and then rinse them, and you should be done.